Hi everybody, I hope you're all well and dandy and have had a good Christmas and New Year. We're going to start off the new year with a vinyl tag. This is from my old mate Rachel's Ghost, based in Canada, and it's a Beatles vinyl tag for 2024. So there's 10 questions and then there is a sort of like a bonus question at the end. I will try and make this as quick as I can, I don't want to bore you all, but you know, if you've never checked out Rachel's Ghost, please check them out. They are a fantastic channel. I, unfortunately, over Christmas and just before Christmas, haven't really been able to watch many of their videos because of my work commitments, but hopefully now we've got a new year and everything, things might change. I'm just going to move that light slightly. That's better. My lighting's crap in here today, to be honest, so I'm not quite sure what to do with it. That's probably, I don't know if that's better or not. Do we really need the light? I will put that like that. Right, so the first question is, what Beatles album do you have the most copies of? Well, I've actually surprised myself here, Rachel, because you've made my head explode. You really have. I've just counted all of my White albums and I've got 27 Beatles White albums on vinyl. The majority of them are UK mono, UK stereo, top openers, originals. I've got some side openers from the 70s that are still numbered. I've got a couple of white vinyl copies from France. I've got reissues from the 70s, 80s, 90s and things like that. So in total there's 27 of them, plus then I've got CDs in the mono and stereo box set, plus I've got a CD, I've got the BCS 13, so that's got one in it, plus I've got the Super Deluxe White Album box set as well, then plus I've got one that I got off the Vinyl Vault. So in total I think that means I've got 32 White Albums. It's a lot, isn't it? I'm not going to show you them all, but I can assure you these are them all. This is probably the most interesting one because this is a early numbered copy and it's 320. So it's 0000320 and it is a mono copy. If you can see that. So that's one lot. I'm going to put them down there. Then there's this lot here. What's that one? White Album Stereo UK first pressing, sold in the UK text, top opener, poster but no photos. The number on that is 043829. I'm not going to show you everyone, I'm not going to go into them and things like that because I'll try and make this as quick as I can. Then we've got, what's up? This is the Beatles White Album 70s repress side opening, UK pressing. That's got no poster or no photos with it. Some of these side openers did actually come with numbers in the early 70s. Then we've got one of these. That's a rare South African version on Parlophone instead of Apple. That's a rare Southeast Asian version on Parlophone instead of Apple. And then that is a rare Indian version on Parlophone instead of Apple. Then I've got a French one on white vinyl there. I've got the 2018 remix or reissue. That one is still sealed. I've got a Greek version which is on EMI instead of Apple. Then I've got, oh excuse me, a USA Capital reissue, but again that doesn't have the poster or the photos in it. I've got a German version, German pressing, and then finally I've got a bit of a battered in French copy. Yeah, I didn't realise I'd got so many White albums. And then having said that, I've got some CDs as well that I haven't counted as well, so just put them back there so I know that they're all in order. Bear with us a minute, folks. If you haven't checked Rachel's Ghosts YouTube channel out, please do. It's a fantastic channel. Rachel has entertained me for many hours over about 2 years now, and when you do get the time to watch it, which unfortunately I don't sometimes, you will always end up with a smile on your face after you've watched it. And if you're not subbed, please sub her. That's all I'll say. So that was the first question. So yeah, to answer that is I've got about 31, 32 White Albums. Bearing in mind, they're doubles, aren't they? So really, that's going to be 64, isn't it? Do I really need that many? No, I don't really, do I? But as a Beatles collector, I do. Like I say, there are different versions. Mono, stereo, majority on Apple. There's some exports and things like that in there. So yeah, you know, white vinyl and things like that. The second, I can see you now. I'm sorry, I had to put my granddad glasses on. The second one is show a Beatles bootleg. I've got a few bootlegs, or unofficial. I don't think, are we allowed to call them bootlegs now? Unofficial albums, we'll say. This is one I actually got last year. I've got a UK version of this, again a bootleg, but that is very convincing, where this one isn't really. You can tell this is a bootleg from a mile away. And it's the Beatles Christmas album. And this is like the American version. But I seem to think your American version had either blue or a green cover, didn't it? Same contents and everything as the UK one. Original UK ones are on Apple, and they are very hard to get by. But the nice thing about this is it's on green vinyl. I mean, the labels give it away. The labels are absolutely rubbish on it. So that's the bootleg. I'm trying to go a little bit out of the box with some of these, because I don't want to do the things that I think everybody else has done on some of them. Obviously, you know, you wanted to know what the most copies are. That is the White Album. What was the last album that you bought? The Beatles album that you bought? Like a lot of people, the last album I actually bought was this. The remixed, super deluxe red and blue albums. That's the last ones I bought. I have had others since I've got this, but they were presents over Christmas, so I haven't included them. Yeah, great album. Nice to compare these mixes to the original mixes from the 1973 albums. The next one is, have I done this one right? Yeah. So question 4 is show a solo album from your favourite Beatle. Well, as most of you know, oh, by the way, cheers everybody. Just have a quick drink of coffee. My favourite Beatle is John Lennon. I love all the Beatles, don't get me wrong, but it was because of John Lennon that I got into the Beatles. And this album that I'm going to show is pretty rare in the UK, to be honest. Not because of the album what it is, it's because this is a Canadian pressing. And I think this is a later copy of John's 1974 album Walls and Bridges. And I think it's on a Capital label instead of Apple, if I remember rightly. I'll just have a quick look. So you don't get the little booklet or the inner with this. It's, you know, pretty standard, to be honest. So it's on the purple Capital label. Nice sounding album, actually. And in all fairness, this is probably one of my favourite John Lennon albums. So in the UK, when you got this, it came in like a wraparound sleeve as well. Like I say, this is a later copy from probably the 1990s. Doesn't really say on here. Yeah, fantastic album. You know, technically this was the last Apple album of new material he released, wasn't it? Although Rock and Roll album was released after this, or that was recorded before this, wasn't it? So that one's for you, Rachel. That one. Next one, question 5. Show a non-UK or US Beatles album. I'm going for this one. And I'm sorry, because if you've watched some of my videos over the past weeks, you probably will have seen this. And it's Abbey Road. And it is a rare pressing. I'll get it out to show you just in case you haven't seen it. I mean, it looks pretty standard, doesn't it, from there, to be honest. The cover's not the best in the world. But the nice thing about this is it's on a yellow and black Parlophone label. yellow and black parlophone. It's not a UK export, by the way. This is an Indian pressing of Abbey Road, and it is actually quite rare because this is only the second one I've ever seen in over 40 years of collecting Beatles records. I have seen another Indian pressing of Abbey Road, which is on the Apple label, but the Apple label on that doesn't look anywhere as nice as that. So I hope that one's okay for you, Rachel. It says try not to drop his record, sorry. Now question 6 is show a Beatles single or EP. Right, I'm going to show you 2 if that's okay. And again, this technically could have been in the one before because they're not UK. They're not UK pressings. The first is the Beatles Paperback Writer EP. This is from France. So on side 1 you get Paperback Writer and the Word, and then on side 2 you get Rain and Nowhere Man. I think that is actually quite a nice sort of like selection of songs. I'll get it out to show you the labels. So that is the labels. And again, sound quality on this is really nice. And being based in the UK, even things from France like this are actually quite hard to get. The next one I'm going to show you, if I'm okay to show 2, is the Beatles Something Can Come Together. And this is in Italian pressing, and it's actually on a white label. So I don't know if it's a promo or it was something to do with going into jukeboxes or something. You can get a couple of Beatles ones like this. It does say somewhere in it something about jukebox. Something for jukebox there, look. I don't know if you can just see that. So that's something, although somebody's wrote their name on there. It's unfortunate. And the classic Come Together. So I hope that's okay for that question. So what we're on now, we are bear with 1 second, folks. So we've done that one. So question 7 is I wasn't sure if you're supposed to show an album or a song or what on this. So it's show an album that features a Beatles cover song. Right, so this album is full of Beatles cover songs, and it's called All This in World War II. I don't think a lot of people actually like this album. It's one that does grow on you, but there's some fantastic versions of Beatles songs, and I'm going to actually pick just one, and it's by a bloke called Leo Sayo. Now if you live outside the UK or Europe, you probably don't know of Leo Sayo. He actually started off as a songwriter and then became a pop star. Still recording songs now. In fact, I think it was last year or year before he did a whole album of Beatles cover versions, and he called it Northern Songs or something. And it's his version of I Am the Walrus. Now you think, if you know what Leo Sayo sounds like, it wouldn't work, but it actually is a fantastic version. Not quite as good as John's version, obviously, but it's well worth checking out if you haven't got it. And this LP you can usually pick up for, you know, peanuts basically. But it is, if you take it for what it is, a Beatles covers album, it is actually quite good. Well, I enjoy it anyway. Now we go to question 8. Show an album with the Beatles as a guest star. This was a weird one because I was going to go for quite a few. And I don't think anybody's done this one yet, Rachel, but they might have done. And it is, the album is Badfinger's Straight Up. And George features on Day After Day. He plays lovely slide guitar on it, and he actually produced 3 or 4 of the tracks on this, I think. Yeah, 3. He actually produced 4, sorry. Yeah, produced Suitcase, I'd Die Babe, Name of the Game, and Day After Day. And his guitar work on Day After Day is absolutely fantastic. So that is that one. This was a strange one. Number 9 is show a non-album stroke record Beatles item. Well, as you can see, I've got loads of Beatles memorabilia. I didn't actually ever start off trying to collect Beatles memorabilia. I've just collected it over the past probably 7 years or so. I was going to say my lovely Revolver poster there, but I thought, no, I'm going to do something different, something that you don't often see me talking about. I mean, everything in here is basically what this question is, but I've gone for this. If you haven't got this, Rachel, you probably could do with something like that. I know you've got books like this that come out in America and things like that, but this is just for the UK, and it is a complete overview of the Beatles singles manufactured in the UK, and it's by Richard Noller. And it's like what it says, it tells you every single that's ever been released in the UK up until 2022, end of 2022 I think it was. So all the reissues and everything in here, it tells you all the matrix numbers and everything, what's in the dead wax and everything. So if you ever buy a job lot of Beatles singles, and there's UK ones, and you could actually find out what pressings there were and what dates they would released and everything. And if you haven't got this book, by the way, please go out and buy it. It's a fantastic book. This is a book I've gone through probably hundreds of times since I bought this earlier this year. It's very interesting from a British Beatles collector's point of view. Obviously in America a lot of these singles don't really mean anything to you, do they? But I know you do get similar books like this in America, don't you? Reference books, aren't they, really? So that's that. Question 10 is show your favourite Giles Martin remixed album. That's quite a hard one, to be honest. Giles Martin, I think he either does a really, really fantastic job, or I don't think he does quite as good a job as he could do, if that makes sense. I'm not knocking him or slagging him off or anything. You know, we're comparing different sorts of eras, aren't we? You know, all the Beatles stuff was recorded in the 60s, and now I'm in, 2024. So I know technology and stuff has gone on. The recent remixed Red and Blue albums, I do know there was a lot of criticism about some of them because the people didn't like some of the remixes. But that's what people wanted, was the remixes. And the ones that people are saying they don't like are actually the ones I think are the most interesting on them albums, i.e. things like I'm the Walrus and Old Brown Shoe and things like that. I think they are probably the most interesting remixes on those new albums. I've gone for one that he actually did jointly with his dad, George. So I hope this counts. And it is the Beatles' Love. If you want your remixes, this is a fantastic album. There's some very, very weird and wonderful remixes on this album. Every time I play this, I hear something completely different in it. It's well worth checking out if you haven't got it. And like I say, if you like your remixes, this is the album for you. This is a proper remixed album. It was to show and things like that. This is a slightly later version. This is the D'Agostini one. I do have the original CD, from when it came out. Lovely album though. Very, very nice package. So I hope that one counts, Rachel. And the last one is sort of like a bonus. It's shout out to a Beatles channel that you watch or like to watch on YouTube. There's thousands of them. Honestly, there is thousands. When I've got time to do it. The first channel I'm going to mention, people might not know. The first one is a channel that I've only just come across in the last few weeks, which is actually called Dinner with Greedo, I think. Check him out. Very knowledgeable bloke. He's got a strange sense of humour. You've got to get used to his humour. He comes across as grumpy or moaning, but that's the way he wants it to come across. Very entertaining, honestly, very entertaining. And he did a video of a song he'd recorded years ago, and over Christmas, and it's called Steve the Snowman, which is really, really good. The other one is Toby Jackman. Again, if you're outside the UK, you might not know Toby. He buys and sells records, basically buys and sells Beatles records. If he hasn't got the copy, he'll you know, you buy, there's good copies in it, he takes it out for himself, like upgrades his copies, then sells the rest on eBay and places like that. Then there's my old mate Beetle Brad. Well, everybody knows Beetle Brad, don't they? There's Beetleman69. There is also a chap in the UK, so you might not know him if you're not in the UK, called Andrew B. Very, very knowledgeable bloke. I like watching his videos. Then you've got who else we got? We've got my old mate Beatletone's Beatles channel. I can't miss you out, can I, mate? Obviously Rachel, I've watched, you know, over the time I've been doing YouTube, I think I've watched your channel more than anybody else's. But there's loads out there. There's me, Mr. Mary, there's Matthew Street, there's, you know, so if I was to name everyone I watched, this video would go on for about 6 hours probably. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you feel, you know, motivated to do this, join in. This has been really, really fun to do. And like I say, I didn't actually realise how many White Albums I'd got, and it was a close thing, because I've actually got quite a few Let It Be's as well, to be honest. But yeah, so it was a close thing. Try it yourselves. You know, go on to Rachel's channel, like, subscribe, try this out. You know, it's something just to get the brain matter going into it. I've really enjoyed doing this, Rachel, I really have. And once again, I will apologise. I'm going to come onto your show one day. One day when I've had a few days off work and I can clear my head a little bit, I will come on your show. The only thing is, Rachel, you've got to tell me how to do it, because I do my videos off my phone, and you know, I don't really know what I do to get onto, you know, if you say, well, here's Beatle Dave from England, I don't really know what to press or anything. So if you can send me some information, then yes, I will gladly come on your channel one day. So as I've said, check Rachel's Ghost out. Thank you very much, Rachel, for this. This has been a joy. Honestly, it really has been a joy to do. You know, check Rachel out. Fantastic channel. I'm sure if you watch it, you're going to like it and subscribe. Like I say, every time I've watched it, I come away laughing my head off, basically. And Sue, my Sue, loves it, because I know your missus called Sue as well. And she comes from Long Eaton, which is where, or her family comes from Long Eaton, which is where my family's originally from, or where I'm originally from. So thank you, Rachel, for this. Like I say, people, have a go. Honestly, have a go. Some of the questions are actually harder than you think they are when you're actually looking for things. So yeah, enjoy it. Peace and love to you all. And that's going to be it. Remember, you are the beat of Beetle Dave. If you've liked this video, by the way, you're not subscribed, just think about subscribing, because it is free. And hit the like button. Send me a message if you want. What would be in your, you know, what would your answers be to these 10 questions? You can either send your answers to me, or you can send your answers to Rachel, because I'm sure Rachel would love to see them as well. So that's going to be it. So peace and love, everybody. Whatever you're doing, please stay safe. And Beetle Dave loves you all.